Okay, so I'm a university student. This is summer break, and I've decided I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about the books that I've been reading this summer. It is the middle of June, so we are roughly halfway through. The first book, I don't have it with me because I returned it to the library, but I read a book called The Politics of Abortion by Janine Brody. This book was recommended to me by one of my profs. I wrote a research paper for a sociology class, and I was discussing, or I was exploring, I guess, rural access to abortion services in Canada. So this was a really helpful book. I didn't read the whole thing before I wrote the paper. Didn't really have that much time. I was working on a few other papers, but this was for my elective class as well, so it's fun. The book was good. It was an interesting read, especially as a Canadian who knows probably a little bit more about American abortion law than I do about Canadian, so now I'm a little bit better read up on it. It's very technical. It's historical. I think it was published in 1992, so it's definitely not the most up-to-date, but a lot really hasn't changed in the legal landscape since then, so that was a good book. Yeah. There also wasn't a digital copy available because I got it from the library and they were like, oh, I'm surprised that we don't have this online for you to read. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here. I do like a physical book though. I definitely don't enjoy all the PDFs that I've read. You know, I read the newspaper. I read several different newspapers quite frequently, and it's just so much nicer than, like, I don't know, opening up the same article online. The next book I read is called Skating on Thin Ice. DeCesaretti, Cowan, and Schwartz. Skating on Thin Ice, Professional Hockey, Rape Culture, and Violence Against Women. This book came out, I think, in 2023. Most of it was written, I think, in 2021, so it is pretty up to date, although there has been quite a lot of updates, especially in this sphere since then. There has been the 2018 World Juniors case that just wrapped up. We don't have the verdict yet. I know when this video goes up we'll know, but when that trial started, there were a lot of people, especially on Reddit, that had a lot of opinions, and somebody in one of the comments was just saying that this book came out, and so I thought it might be worth the read if they have it at the library, which they do. And now I have it in my hand. There's a lot in here. I think it's quite interesting. Again, like I said, there's notes at the back, so it's about 250 pages, and it is interesting. I would say all of the books that I've read on this list so far, I'm gonna get to two more, have been kind of like, I could read and reread and study this book. It was not an easy read in terms of like the content. There were definitely, there's some heavy stuff in here, and that shouldn't dissuade somebody from reading it, I don't think, but this is not the kind of book that you would pick up and casually read and it not sort of inform you in the future. Art is supposed to make you feel something, and reading and writing is part of that. I'm in a sport media program, so I've definitely read up on some of this stuff, not extensively whatsoever, but I don't know enough about this sort of stuff to make a valid criticism. Again, it's not a light read, but that really shouldn't stop us from looking at, you know, what we need to look at in the world. Yeah, very descriptive. I like that. Okay, this video is going longer than I thought. I also thought about rating these books, and I don't think I can really do that. Okay, the third book is called Heroes in My Head. It's a memoir from Judy Rebick. I think I'm saying that right. And it was published in 2018, I believe. Yes. Now this book, again, it's about 250 pages. It's got some pictures as well, if you're into pictures like I am. Yeah, It was also recommended to me by my sociology prof, same prof that I wrote the abortion paper for. It's mostly about this Canadian woman. She was a feminist here in Toronto, and I think she still is alive. I actually don't know. I believe she's still alive. The incredible untold story of her struggle with depression and dissociative identity disorder, DID. So I thought this would be quite interesting. Because, like, what does that look like for somebody? I've read about DID before, and I've definitely, like, seen some videos here on YouTube about people's experiences with it, but, yeah, I was just like, what does that even mean, to be late diagnosed and still to have gone through such a, from what I remember, it sounds like an impressive career, or at least she's done a lot of different things in her life. Heavier story, I would say. It's still interesting. I read it in May. This was a faster read, I would say, too. She chronicles her struggle with depression in the 1980s when she became a high-profile spokesperson for the pro-choice movement during the fight to legalize abortion. Yeah, so this is Canada specific. And yeah, like I said, I would read this again. I would recommend it as well. And then the fourth book I'm currently working on, they put the library sticker over the first part, so it seems like it says us and John Wayne, but it's actually Jesus and John Wayne. How White Evangelicals Corrupted a Faith and Fractured a Nation. This is an American book. It was written by a woman who, believe it or not, lives in Grand Rapids. Yeah, so I'm working on it again. This one's much more researchy. This book was like a memoir, his personal account. This one, it has footnotes and a conclusion. Yeah, so I just finished chapter 11. There are 18 chapters, I believe. I want to be done reading this book because I find this is the kind of book that I can put down for like many days and not want to read it. There's just a lot of like American history, and I used to be really interested in that sort of thing. Kind of when I went from being in high school up until a few years ago, I guess, there's maybe 2 or 3 years that I was interested in the whole like deconstructionist and purity culture, and I read a lot of those kind of books when I was younger, and this was one I never bought and I could never really get my hands on until I, actually moved, and the university has a lot of these. I think I heard about this one first from Fundy Fridays, which I used to watch. I haven't for a while, so I don't really watch a lot of YouTube anymore, unfortunately, but I'm reading, so I'm learning. Yeah, I think this one was published in 2018 as well. Let's see, 2020. So I'm not done it yet. I think Jesus wins, but I'm not sure. Jesus and John Wayne? It is quite interesting though to see like how what I thought was always traditional Christianity and like this is how things have always been over the years, but definitely because of this book as well, that I'm kind of like, oh, a lot of this was just manufactured in the last like 40 years. They just kind of made that shit up. It's contemporary, it's interesting. I think I just finished up reading the section on, what was the last chapter's called? Holy Balls. Okay, that's not descriptive, but it was about like 9/11 Christianity and, IBLP, yeah. And since I had already seen a lot of Funny Fridays stuff, I was familiar with some of the stuff because she references this book. Sorry, every time I pick up this book, I just keep thinking, Jesus and John Wayne? Damn. Both? So I also started that one in May, and it's June. And then the last one I got, this one, the building I live in has a library, which is cool. It's not like an official library, we just have like a bookshelf and people take it or leave it. Somebody made annotations in here too, I didn't know that. Okay. As for Me and My House by Sinclair Ross. I think this was published, oh, it's got someone's phone number in it. Wow. 1941. And this edition is from 1970. Sinclair Ross was born in 1908 at Shellbrook, Saskatchewan, and is well acquainted with the West, of which he writes so superbly. Suburbly? I don't think I've ever seen that. Should be superbly? I gotta look this up. He began writing at the age of 10, and his short stories and articles have appeared extensively in magazines and anthologies. This is the only full-length novel to be published. I think I read part of the introduction. I don't really care to read introductions, if I'm honest. Just want to get into the book. Yeah, so we'll see if I actually end up finishing this one, but it's on the list. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to actually start reading books again. When I was a kid, I read a lot of books because I had a really long bus ride, and the school really encouraged us to go to the library, but when I used to work full-time, and I tried to read, I just couldn't really get past a couple pages. Like, I just wasn't interested in reading anymore the way I was when I was a kid. For this summer break, and at least in terms of reading, is I want to read 10 books, and I am almost done my 4th. I think if I can read, 6 more after this, that'll be good. I'm also still reading a lot of articles and newspapers, and it's not that I'm not reading words, it's just committing to one book. Keeping my eyes peeled for some good recommendations. Anything I can get through the university library for the most part. I don't want to buy books. I am not a book buyer. Yeah, I don't like that any better. I've got 3 books that I think I might be taking out. Allegedly, I'm going to the beach. There's one that I really want to get. I know they have it at the school library, but I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. I did write it down somewhere. Exactly where, I don't know, but it's about Canadian Chinese food. Anyway, that's my little update. This has been like 20 minutes of me yapping. Fun. Super fun. I picked up 4 books at the library yesterday, and I dropped 2 off. The Chop Suey Nation was a really good read. I really enjoyed that. I think I read it in about 2 sittings, 2.5. And the entire time I was just craving Chinese food. So in the spirit of that, I picked up another book about Chinese food in Canada, but I liked it. It was very well written. I would definitely read it again. So that was good. And then the other one that I returned was called Jesus and John Wayne. And I've been working on that book since May, and I finally finished it. Oh my gosh. Couldn't wait to put that one down. And then like I said, I picked up 4 books, but I still have one. It's Making a Good Script Great, the 3rd edition. And as you can see, I'm about halfway through it. And it's good. I don't want to read it in one sitting because there's just like so many different like tips and tricks, little pieces of advice. I'm tired today, okay? Yesterday I did all my running around downtown, and today I'm tired. Tomorrow morning I have to wake up early. I decided to take the morning train. I think the plan is for me to leave here at 5:30, and then my train at Union leaves at 7. And I don't want to miss that train. I started reading. I am close to being done, actually. I'll probably finish this one today. It's called For the Love of a Son by Scott Oak, a memoir of addiction, loss, and hope. I would not be surprised if I'm the first person to read this book, because I think the library got it April 1st of this year, and it was published last year. Yeah, it's like I've been tearing up reading it. It's not an easy book to read, but it's well written. I think it's co-written with Michael Hingston. I'm just at page 157. I think that's chapter 10. I can't really tell. I've got a bookmark in the way. Yes, chapter 10. And I'll probably finish this today. It's not a lot of words on a page. It's got like some pretty thick margins around the sides. I'd like to finish this one today because then I don't have to take it with me. I don't want to have a cliffhanger. I haven't decided if I'm going to take this one with me. And then these are the other 3 books that I got. So this one's called Eating Chinese, Culture on the Menu in Small Town Canada by Lily Cho. And this was in the bibliography of Chop Suey Nation. So that's one of the reasons why I picked it. It's published in 2010. And we all know 2010 was last year, but this book is 15 years old. Somebody annotated it in pencil, and there are sticky notes, I believe. I don't know what to expect from this one. I think this is a little bit more research heavy rather than interviews. There's a lot of pages before you have an introduction. What? And then the last 2 are about film and film photography. This one is called Analog Photography Reference Manual for Shooting Film by Andrew Bellamy. And it was probably published in 1970, but 2017. This looks like an older kind of book, but 2017 is well, kind of recent, I guess. And then the last one is Documenting the World, Film Photography and the Scientific Record, edited by Greg Mittman and Kelly Wilder. Not really excited about reading, but like I'm on summer break, so I should do something, you know? Life is research. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna take with me. I'm not sure about this manual, because I already know how to shoot. First of all, digital photography. But then secondly, I know how to shoot on my film cameras, so why did I take this book out? I don't know. I finished reading Making a Good Script, Great, the 3rd edition, last night. And I finished it by reading the case study chapter, which I thought was very cool. I enjoyed it. I'm glad it was back there. And I just kind of got a little bit of a kick out of the fact that, can I read an excerpt? I don't know, maybe. I'll just read like the last couple sentences. I then studied photography and went to a community college for a year and took cinematography courses. I really wanted to make movies. I just didn't know how to go about it until my dad suggested I move to Hollywood because there weren't many opportunities in Canada, where I lived, to make movies unless you were very well connected in Ontario or Vancouver or Montreal. I wasn't in one of those cities. I was from the small town of London. I haven't Googled him, but it sounds like he went to Fanshawe. Yeah, anyway, so I got a kick out of reading that because I was like, this whole book, I've just been like, well, you know, it sounds like Hollywood. It sounds very like, I don't want to say beyond me, right? Because that's not a good attitude to have if you're trying to write a good script or write a great script. But then reading that part about how he moved out of London, and I'm like, oh, okay. Cool. Like, I live in southwestern Ontario when I'm not in school in Toronto. Despite the fact that this guy's from London, he went on to win some awards. Paul Haggis. He won the Best Picture Oscar for $1 Million Baby and Crash. But anyway, this is a great book. This is more of like a book you go back to later and you reread and you reference. Yeah, another one down. So I realized that I've finished 3 books since the last time I sat down for one of these. So I'm just gonna do kind of a rapid fire review. That's what this is supposed to be. This whole summer of reading things is supposed to be rapid fire. And I just go on and on. Anyway, so there was a book I finished. I picked this one up. I was very interested in it. There's also photos. I love a good picture book. So this is For the Love of a Son from Scott Oak. I really liked it. I probably could read it again, to be honest, because it was a good book. And then I was home. I was back on the farm for a little bit, and I finally finished Making a Good Script, Grade 3rd Edition from Linda Seeger. You have to sit and digest and enjoy, and I might have actually filmed a clip for this one, I just can't remember. And then the most recent one I finished, this one I've been reading for about a month, I think. I started reading it while my car was getting an oil change. And let me tell you, I had no idea what I was reading. So it's very academic. It's good. So it's called Eating Chinese, Culture on the Menu in Small Town, Canada. Lily Cho is the author. I just kind of don't know what I'm reading when I'm reading this book. I know more now than when I started, but even so, I feel like I have more questions, which is probably good for a book, you know, to leave you wanting more. It talks a lot about diaspora and specifically Chinese immigrants to Canada. The author is an associate professor of English at the University of Western Ontario, so that's not too far from where I grew up. Yeah, I liked it, but there were definitely times, I would say I understood maybe like 12% of this book, and 6% of that were the photos, so, and there's like 3 pictures in here, so maybe my math is wrong, but yeah, there's 5 distinct chapters. There's an introduction, I think there's a foreword, there's also a conclusion, and possibly an afterword. I really enjoyed the 3rd chapter that I just have open here, media analysis of a song from Joni Mitchell and also one from Sylvia Tyson that discuss the Chinese restaurant in a small town. And I don't really have much of a voice today, I'm not sure why that is, but how these places, sort of what they represent for somebody. And then there's actually a good portion in here about nostalgia. And then there's also nostalgia from an immigrant point of view. And then I think later it kind of gets into the 5th chapter, How Taste Remembers. Proprioceptive synapse memory, diaspora community in Watts poetry. Which makes me want to go and get Waiting for Saskatchewan from the library. I think they have it, just to read it, because I write poems too. I don't share them with people, but just, you know, kind of curious about what else is out there, right? Anyway, I could talk about this for a while, but this one was good. I might have to read it in the future again. Yeah, some parts it just I don't get, and that's okay. Maybe I'm not supposed to get that. And other parts I wish there was more of. It would take me a while to get through like a chapter, but things kind of picked up a bit toward the end. I think I was understanding it a lot more the further I read. So yeah, the biggest thing was like starting a chapter and just being like, what is like 3 pages on something? And it's like, what does this even mean? I don't even, like, why, what's the point? And then by the time you get to like the last paragraph of the chapter, you're like, oh, tied it all together, I get it now. Yeah, that's life, I suppose. So those are the 3 that I finished lately. Today is August 12th. And I am working on the manual for analog photography. It's not a heavy reader, I just need a little bit of a break. Yeah, so then I've just got those 3 books behind me that I have to finish up before school starts, and I think I probably will get pretty far. I think I'll bring the manual. I don't know, maybe I won't. But then there's that As For Me and My House from Sinclair Ross. I think I'll bring that. It's a little book, so it's not too heavy. So that's kind of what's been not eating at me. It's just what I've been reading lately, and I definitely want to say this is the biggest high that I've ever gotten finishing a book. I would say in the last like 3 or 5, maybe even 10 years. It just felt like it was so much effort to read and understand, and I don't know, I feel like I could climb a mountain. I'm not going to, but I feel capable now. And I picked it up without prior research because this one was referenced in the bibliography for the Chop Suey Nation, I think that's what it was. And I was like, sure, you know, let's see. It feels kind of niche. I love Chinese food. Do you understand? There's some kind of nostalgia about eating Chinese food. I'm not Chinese, I'm Dutch. Like, what? So this is kind of where I'm at. I should return these books before I head back to the farm, but they're due in November, so I'll just do it sometime, I guess, before school starts. Wow. Okay, so we're going into Labor Day weekend here. Very fun. School starts on Tuesday for me, and I thought I would do just a little wrap up on the books that I've read. I have a big pile that I have to return to the university, and I also went to the bookstore the other day. So the book that I'm reading right now, I definitely will finish in the next like week or whatever. I'm just kind of reading it for fun, like I'm not trying to learn anything. I think I talked about eating Chinese. That book is done. I feel very like strange. I don't like the framing on this either, but there's a lot of stuff in the background. I don't have a messy room. I just don't want people to know what it looks like, you know what I'm saying? Before I went back to the farm for like a week, I had some family stuff, so it's like, I should probably just go. Anyway, I read Analog Photography from Andrew Bellamy, and I enjoyed it. I don't think I made a video on that, but it was quite good, you know. Not very wordy. It's a reference manual. I learned a little bit. I learned I should probably, you know, take care of my camera, my film camera. So that was good. And then the most recent book that I finished was As For Me and My House from Sinclair Ross. And I think I might have started this video saying I probably won't read it because I read the foreword and it was dry. Like, I don't like forewords. You're telling me that somebody else has an idea about a book? Okay, cool. And I finished it last week. And it was really good. Yes, I'm switching arms. I used to have a lot more endurance in my arm muscles. Yep. I'm getting soft living in the city. I did unfortunately spoil it for myself. I was reading a little bit about it online because I was like, I wonder if there's some kind of like, not book club, but it's classic Canadian literature, so why is it considered a classic? Like, is there somebody that's got like a good take on it, I guess? I don't know. I was trying to understand it because there's like parallels between what the narrator is saying and what the husband is doing. Very good, but I did spoil it for myself, unfortunately. So don't do that. It's good. It's fast. A little depressing, yeah, but I get it, you know. I've lived in areas that are kind of like that. Not in the 1940s for sure, but you would think as a media student I would know where all the good lighting in my room is, and I don't. So then I had one more book from, oh geez, let's not stand in the sun. Yeah, this is particularly rough. I was at a concert last night. I haven't done that in a long time. So I had one book left that I got from the library in July, I want to say, and it's called Documenting the World, Film Photography and the Scientific Record. Greg Mittman and Kelly Wilder. Yes. And I was going to read it, and it's kind of thick, and now that I have like 4 days or whatever until school starts, I just don't want to be reading this. I don't, because I'm going to be reading enough for classes, and it was a book I was like, okay, let me get something else, you know? Yeah, so I'm just going to return this. I flipped through it, and I'm like, it's not appealing to me right now. So, putting that on the pile. That is a did not read. Wait, it gets better. This is such an interesting video. Wow. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend like this is super exciting. I read books. I couldn't get a job and I read books. So I went down to a bookstore here in Toronto, Book City, if you must know. They have 4 locations, so check it out. And I got a copy of Le Petit Prince, but it's the English version. And happened to be walking by, as one does, on sidewalks and such, and they had a bunch of books out front, like bargain books or whatever. So yeah, for $7.99 plus HST, I got a copy of a book I read for French class in grade 12, like 5 years ago. So yeah, I've just been flipping through it. It's kind of like a cute little book to read. I didn't really understand it at first, you know, when I was learning about it. Like once you've read it and once you've dissected it, you get it, you know. I also love the artwork, and it's just a little nostalgic for whatever reason. I'm like, it reminds me of the early days of the pandemic, but not in a bad way. A classic. Yeah, so I'll be finishing this one up very soon. It's not that thick. I mean, I've read it before, just now it's in English, so maybe there'll be something I missed the first time, I don't know. Okay, so this is like the conclusion to the video, because I thought I did a good conclusion yesterday and I didn't. So those are all the books I read this summer, and I'm pretty happy about it. I think it was about like 11 books, and there was only one I didn't end up reading. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I feel very accomplished. It's nice to have a goal to work towards. I mean, I know overall I have the goal of getting my degree, but that's gonna take a few years. So this is kind of a fun little project, I guess. I was sort of kicking and screaming at certain parts. Don't always want to sit down and read a book. I wanted to keep this video a little bit shorter, but doesn't really matter. One of the things one of my profs had said was like, just post what you want to post on the internet. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. Books.